The wealthiest woman in a room is rarely the one you notice first. I learned that lesson from someone who corrected me publicly and was completely right to. A woman explained, with more precision than I'd use myself, that necklace length isn't a matter of taste, it's a matter of proportion. That as the body changes, the pendant has to move with it, or the whole effect quietly collapses. Neck width, torso length, where the piece actually sits. I read it twice before I realized she wasn't disagreeing with me. She was finishing a thought I hadn't gone far enough with. Her name is Sulin Go. She's 58, and she spent 31 years as a jewelry auctioneer in Singapore, cataloging estate pieces that had passed through 3 and 4 generations before they ever reached her podium. She could tell you the cut, clarity, and provenance of a stone within seconds of holding it. She knew more about gemstones than most gemologists working today. What she didn't know, what nobody had ever told her in 3 decades of handling other families' history, was why her own jewelry, worn to her own family's events, never landed the way the pieces she auctioned did. Her sister-in-law was the reason she started noticing. Old family money, 3 generations deep, and never once did she wear anything Sulin could point to and say, "That's expensive." No large stones, no layered chains, and yet she commanded a room the second she entered it before she'd said a single word to anyone. Sulin, meanwhile, wore more, bigger stones, longer chains, pieces she'd sourced through decades in the trade at prices most people would find genuinely alarming, and somehow read as trying, standing next to a woman who appeared to be doing nothing at all. She found one of our videos after a slow week at the auction house, half watching it while sorting invoices at her desk, and downloaded the elegant morning routine checklist, mostly out of curiosity, expecting nothing from it. What she didn't expect was to see her own instincts, the proportion rule she'd spent 30 years applying to other people's jewelry on the auction floor, finally explained as something she could apply to herself, in her own mirror, for the first time. She adjusted one necklace, wore it 18 inches instead of 16, letting it sit differently against her frame, the way she'd have advised any client without a second thought. Small. Almost nothing. The kind of change you'd assume nobody would notice. At her nephew's engagement dinner 3 weeks later, her sister-in-law, the same woman who'd spent a decade being politely, quietly unimpressed by Sulin's jewelry, leaned over during dessert and asked where the piece had come from. Not the stone, not the price. Where it had come from, the way you'd ask about something inherited. A jade specialist Sulin had worked alongside for years at Christie's Hong Kong, once told her something she hadn't fully understood until that exact dinner. The rarest piece in the room is always the quietest one. That's what I want you to hold on to today, because habit 5 on this list is the one my comment section fights me on every single time. The one people insist is purely decorative, when it's actually the opposite. By the time we get there, you'll understand exactly what it's really signaling and why the women who wear it correctly never have to explain themselves to anyone. Before we get into it, I have something for you. It's the exact document Sulin downloaded that slow afternoon at the auction house, free, no catch. It's called the Elegant Morning Routine Checklist, 12 rituals sophisticated women use to protect their presence, their energy, and how they're read the moment they enter a room. I'll leave it below this video. My name is 𝐈𝐬𝐼𝐷𝐄. Every week I bring this community the information that nobody else is willing to say plainly. That community is called the Undeniables. If you are new here, subscribe right now. You belong here. And drop the city you are watching from in the comments below. I am always down there reading. I want to know where my fellow undeniables are. Now let's get into it. 1. The single strand of pearls, size to the woman, not the trend. I've watched women buy pearls the way they'd buy any accessory, off the rack, one standard length, no adjustment made for the person wearing them. But a strand that sits perfectly on one woman can look costume grade on another, simply because nobody accounted for neck length or collarbone width before the clasp went on, and the piece was declared finished. The Cultured Pearl Association of Japan has documented for decades what old money families in Asia have always practiced quietly and without announcement. Pearls are sized to the individual, never mass-produced to a single standard length, and sold as one-size-fits-all elegance. Sulin told me she'd sold thousands of pearl strands at auction over 3 decades and never once resized her own, despite advising countless clients to do exactly that. A jewelry consultant in Hong Kong had hers shortened by 1.5 inches last year after years of wearing an inherited length that never quite suited her. She said it was the first time a pearl necklace looked like it belonged to her specifically, rather than to pearls as a general category. 2. The pendant hung to the individual's proportion, not a chart. This is the one Sulin corrected me on, and she was right too. As the body changes, and it does, year over year, in ways most women don't track, the same pendant length stops sitting the way it used to. Where it lands against the collarbone, the sternum, the neckline of a blouse, quietly changes the entire read of the piece, whether anyone consciously notices or not. Sulin's own rule, refined over 3 decades of appraising estate jewelry for auction. Measure where the eye naturally rests when looking at a woman, not where a generic sizing chart insists a chain should fall, regardless of who's wearing it. She moved her own signature pendant 2 inches longer last year, after years of wearing the length she'd chosen at 25 and never revisited. Her family noticed before she said a single word about it. This is one of 30 days inside the Undeniable's complete system, the guide Sulin went on to work through, after the checklist proved there was real substance behind it, not just 12 pleasant suggestions. And if you're planning to watch this video all the way through, subscribe now, because next week I'm covering the exact accessories that quietly age a woman 10 years past her actual style, and almost nobody removes them in time. 3. The single heirloom jade bangle, worn alone. Jade specialists at Christie's Hong Kong have long noted that the most valuable jade pieces at auction are rarely the largest or most ornately carved. They're the ones with the clearest, most even color, worn without competition from anything else on the same wrist, allowed to be the only statement being made. Sulin's sister-in-law wore one jade bangle, inherited from her own grandmother, every single day, and nothing else on that wrist, ever, regardless of the occasion or how formal the evening. Sulin, for most of her career, used to stack 3 or 4 pieces at once, believing more visible jade signaled more serious expertise. Watching her sister-in-law across a decade of family dinners is what finally taught her that restraint was the flex the entire time, and had been the whole time she'd been missing it. 4. The hair accessory, in a material that could survive being called a family heirloom. A hairstylist I know in Hong Kong has told me she can identify a client's actual budget within seconds of meeting her, purely from what's holding her hair in place. Plastic clips read instantly as an afterthought, while jade, horn, or lacquered wood hair sticks read as intentional, considered, even completely at rest and unremarked upon. Sulin's mother had passed down a carved horn hair stick decades earlier that Sulin had never once worn, assuming it was too formal, too old-fashioned for ordinary daily life at the auction house. She started wearing it to work twice a week, almost as an experiment. Colleagues who'd known her for 15 years started asking, for the first time, where it had come from. Nobody had ever asked about her jewelry before, despite everything she'd owned. 5. The silk scarf, chosen for provenance, not decoration. Here's the one my comments argue about constantly, usually dismissed as something tied to a handbag strap purely to be noticed, a decorative flourish with no real function. That's not what it's actually for. A well-chosen silk scarf signals where a woman sources things and how long she's owned them, which is precisely why old money families rarely buy a new one every season, the way trend-driven shoppers do. Sulin owned scarves for 20 years before she understood any of this. She started rotating one her mother had carried for decades, tied simply, without matching it to an outfit, the deliberate way she used to when she was younger. A colleague at the auction house asked if it was vintage. It was. That was, in fact, the entire point of wearing it at all 6. The thin, gold watch that tells no one anything except the time. Research published in the Journal of Marketing by Hahn, Nunes, and Drez found something old money families have understood instinctively for generations, without needing a study to confirm it. Prominent logos and oversized branding are worn overwhelmingly by people trying to signal new wealth, while genuinely established wealth consistently chooses understated, unbranded pieces instead. Every time. Sulin had worn a large, logo-forward watch to auctions for years, genuinely assuming visibility translated directly into credibility with buyers. She switched to her late father's thin gold dress watch, with no visible branding at all, nothing to read from across a table. Buyers at her auctions started taking her opinion more seriously afterward, not less, and she noticed the shift within weeks. 7. The hand-carved personal seal, used instead of a signature. An antiques dealer I trust in Shanghai has told me that a hand-carved chop, a personal seal used for signing documents and art in place of an ordinary signature, remains one of the most reliable markers of an old money family in Asia, precisely because it can't be purchased quickly, faked convincingly, or replicated by anyone without the original carving. Sulin inherited her grandfather's seal decades ago and kept it in a drawer for years, assuming it belonged strictly to the past, to formal documents nobody used anymore. She began using it again on personal correspondence, almost sentimentally at first. A client at the auction house recognized the specific carving style immediately and asked which family it had originally come from. 8. The bag that doesn't announce the house that made it. That same Journal of Marketing research found that consumers with genuine, established, multi-generational wealth consistently favored quiet, unbranded luxury goods over their logoed counterparts, while highly visible logos correlated far more strongly with buyers newer to money, still trying to signal a status. The piece itself couldn't yet communicate on its own merit. Sulin had carried a heavily logoed bag to client meetings for the better part of a decade, believing it projected authority in a competitive industry. She switched to an unmarked leather tote from a house that has never needed a monogram to sell out its collections. Nobody at the auction house commented on the bag itself afterward. Several people commented on her, which turned out to be the entire shift she'd been missing. 9. The material substitution nobody with real old money actually skips. One comment on our last video defended real tortoiseshell as elegant, timeless, worth the controversy. It isn't anymore, not because the look changed, but because the material behind it did, decades ago, in ways most people never learned. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species has restricted the hawksbill turtle shell trade for decades, and families with real generational money quietly moved to acetate and buffalo horn instead. Precisely because those are the families with enough institutional history to know which materials eventually become liabilities. Sulin had one antique tortoiseshell comb from an estate sale and had never once disclosed the material to anyone who asked about it. She retired it to a display case and began wearing a horn version instead, visually near identical, ethically current, and she told me, the one piece nobody had questioned since she made the switch. Sulin still auctions estate jewelry, and she still corrects me occasionally in the comments, but now it's refinement, not correction. She went on to complete the undeniables complete system, not because 9 accessories changed her life on their own, but because she wanted the full standard sitting behind them. The one her sister-in-law had clearly been living by for 30 years without ever once explaining it out loud. Here is what every one of these accessories has in common, Sulin. None of them were chosen to be noticed. They were chosen to be correct, sized to the body, sourced with history, worn without needing to explain themselves to anyone in the room. The quietest piece has never once been the cheapest one. It has always been the one that knew exactly where it belonged. Pick 3 accessories from this list to adjust this week, not 9-3. Wear them differently, deliberately for the next 7 days. Then come back and comment, I adjusted this, this, and this. Tell me what shifted, or send me an email. I read every one. If this video gave you something worth having, subscribing costs you nothing and means everything to this community. There's a video on your screen right now that I'd recommend you watch next. It goes even deeper into the signals we only touched on today. Until next time, to every woman watching, you are not here by accident. You are an undeniable. Act like it. Isabel.